This video will demonstrate some basic searches in the PsycInfo database. We access the database through the Pace University Library's homepage, which you can find at library.pace.edu or a quick Google search. Click on databases and either click on the subject psychology or just the letter P and scroll down. These are all the databases that begin with the letter P, and we would click on PsycInfo. This is the page that opens. Now, before we start searching in the database, we need to have some kind of research question or statement that we're interested in. Most research begins in a very general way. So I'm going to start with a question like, what are some of the psychological aspects of fan culture or fandom? I'm not offering a thesis statement or any answers or anything in particular right now. This is an exploratory process, and I'm beginning my research with this question. I'm not going to need to search for psychological or anything like that because I'm in a psychology database. So my main keywords are going to be fan culture, fandom. So I come back to the database and I start typing in fan. And in this case, the autocomplete does offer something that I'm interested in. I was going to go ahead and type these terms out anyway, but I am going to put fan culture in quotation marks to preserve that exact phrase. We use the word or to join more than one search term that as a group, they're all synonymous. And if we typed just one of them or just two of them, we might miss something important. So I start here, and before I search, I'm going to scroll down and see if I want to apply any limits to my search. I do not recommend limiting to full text in this database. If we do that, we might miss a really good article that is described in this database, but is not full text in this database. We can always find the full text in another database or through the interlibrary loan process. So I wouldn't limit to full text. You might need to limit to peer-reviewed. That is often required at PACE in psychology classes. So I am going to go ahead and limit to peer-reviewed. And as far as the publication year, I'm going to start out with just the last year. I just want to see what's going on in the last year. And there are many other limits that you can apply. Just keep in mind that the more limits you apply, the fewer results you're going to get. Do I need to limit to the English language? I'm not sure, but I'm going to because it's the only one that I can read, unfortunately. And this is where we can get very narrow, population group, intended audience, and then methodology has many, many options. This is a very useful limit when you need to apply it. For example, if you're looking for a qualitative study, you could apply this limit. Won't always be 100% accurate. You still might miss something that wasn't given this description. So just keep in mind that these limits are not perfect. And if you're finding that your results are too few, take off one of your limits or filters. So I applied a few limits or filters, and I'm going to leave this as a keyword search, but keep in mind that even at the very beginning, you can tell the database to look in particular places. I like to search in the title. I'm not going to do it right now, but I might come back to it in a moment. If your term is in the title, usually the article is very much about that term, usually. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it on this very broad keyword search for now. So let's see what happens. This gives me 941 results. Okay, that's a pretty high number. That's just for the last 12 months. I'm seeing my results sorted by relevance according to the database. I can also look at the newest or the oldest. I could sort in those ways instead. And I can also look at more than 10 per page. If I'd like to have a longer scroll, we strongly encourage you not to look at just the first few results. take some time, scroll down, look at some of the results, look for interesting keywords in the titles and in these initial descriptions. You might find something that will help you redirect your search or create a different type of search going in a new direction. For example, I might look at this and think, I'm interested in fandom around queer or LGBTQ plus issues, and I might redirect my search that way. And I'm seeing other terms or phrases that I could possibly search for, like fan identity. I don't think that was definitely not one of my initial terms, fan identity. And I always keep notes as I'm conducting research, and I jot things down so that I might come back to them later and add them as search terms or create a new additional search. It's completely ordinary to have multiple searches when you have a research project. There is no one perfect search. So look for those keywords, look for interesting directions that might appear, and definitely look at many of the titles and brief descriptions before you start selecting articles. Identity, that seems of interest to me. In fact, I'm going to add that to my search in just a moment. Sports washing, I don't even know what that is. I might make a note of that. Women's sports fans, fan violence, interesting. Anti-fandom. So I am seeing lots of interesting terms that might influence my research ultimately. But in order to add more terms to my search, I'm going to click Advanced Search in the upper right here. I'm going to add identity. And again, the autocomplete is helpful. I'm going to accept identity development. I'm going to use the quotation marks, identity formation, identity construction. These autocomplete terms are a mix of terms that other users have typed in and also some AI behind the scenes at the database trying to offer useful search terms. So let's see what happens here. These two fields, all fields and all text are very similar, all fields and all text, but I'm going to actually change these both to all fields. That's the default search type. So I want this or this or this and at least one of these, this or this or this. So that actually brought it down to 4. But remember, we're looking at just the last 12 months. So now I might want to open up to a longer period of time. And now I have 17. That might be okay. And keep in mind, if you sign into the database, for some reason, my Firefox browser makes me do this twice. If you sign into the database, you can do things like save the search. See these dots here, search actions. I can save the search. But I do need to scroll down and click save. I can also start selecting articles that look good to me. Maybe number 4. I'm trying to find somewhat general research and scholarship at this point. Articles do tend to be pretty specific in the PsycInfo database. Cosplay, interesting. I'm going to go ahead and just grab a couple more of these, and then I can come back up to the top and let's see. I can click save. And those will go over here into my saved dashboard. Records means articles, and then searches mean searches. So I could rerun these searches at any time. Another option is to create projects for a particular research question or statement. So the way to do that, let's see, I have to click on something again. And then here it says add to project. And I can choose an existing project, or I can create a new one. I'm going to call this one Fandom Exploration. So these are tools that you can utilize after you sign into the database. Now at the article level, let me go back to this one that I like. The article level, if I click on the article title, I find all this additional information about the article, the authors, their affiliation, where they work, the name of the journal, the page count can be useful. I don't want something too brief, and maybe I don't want something super, super long. Here are additional keywords probably supplied by the authors. Something might be useful there. The abstract is a summary, and this one has an impact statement, which is interesting. You don't always see that, but this is a statement by the authors talking about how they think their research will have an impact. And even further down are the official subjects to describe the article, and these are assigned by the database. Interestingly, fandom is not in the subject list, but it's the first keyword provided by the authors, and clearly the article is about that. Population, tests and measures, all that stuff. The article itself is not here though. I need to click where it says search for item. It's going to search all the other databases it pays for this full text article. If it can't find it, it's going to lead me to the interlibrary loan option. So I think I'm logged in right now. If you're logged in already, it automatically just populates the fields for you, but you do need to scroll to the bottom and submit the request and make sure the required fields are actually filled out. They should be. So submit request, and then you'll have the article within 24 to 48 hours. Typically, you'll receive an email, and there'll be a link in the email to the article. If you don't have an interlibrary loan account created yet, go to the PACE Library's website under quick links and create your account here. There are also tools here to save the article. We can get the citation. You can copy it to a clipboard and paste it somewhere, save it for later. There's that add to project again. And then here's the share button. I can get a permalink to this article and share it with others. Maybe you're in a team or with your professor. You can also share by just emailing to you or others, and they will receive this and all this information in the form of a permalink. They won't receive the article though, because the article is not here, just the description. And you can also download this description. So I go back to my results, and just a couple more things I want to say. If an article looks good, if it seems spot on, you can try, where's my article? You can try clicking more like this. This is a new feature. We're still exploring it. So it will show me an article, and this looks too specific for me. So I'm actually going to say this was not helpful. And then I'm going to go to the next one. And I can go to the next one. So actually, I'm not a huge fan of this feature right now, but maybe it's better than I think. It's new. And then one other thing I want to share is the ability to, let me go back to the advanced search. Where to go? I can actually do a natural language search. But interestingly, I can't find it at this moment. Let me try clicking again on the database. Natural language search under search options. I could rephrase my my search as a question or a statement. I could try something like psychological aspects of fandom or super fans, just something like that. Some kind of natural language search. Let's just see what happens. Again, this is a new feature in the database as well. They're trying to utilize AI, make it a little bit easier for people to search. Okay, well, some of this looks actually useful. Looks really good, actually. So just to show you how I did that again, I went to search options in the middle and clicked natural language search. And sometimes you will see the full text immediately. This says access options, and I can open the PDF right now. That's the ideal. But if you don't see the access options, then you'll click on that search for item button right here. So if you have other questions about searching in PsycInfo, you can go to our homepage and click on Ask a Librarian. You could create a requested research appointment. You can chat with us when the library is open. You can ask a question here. We'd love to help you. The next video will be a more advanced search strategy in PsycInfo.